All right, now you're going to work on your exercise for the sheet metal portion using the sheet metal tools and cutting yourself out a hole. Now, some of you may already know how to do this, but this is based on somebody not knowing anything about sheet metal. First of all, let's discuss some of the tools. We got the power cutter, all right, and at the end I'll show you how to use this. When you're done with your project and you've shown it to us, then you can use this to cut up the project, okay? But for right now, you may not have that on the work site, okay? So this is just to understand how to use the tools. Nothing drastic. You'll have a toolbox like we have everywhere in this classrooms. You have your ruler, all right, straight edge, your ball peen hammer, and these are your circle makers, okay? You're going to have your green, your yellow, and your red handle cutters. Those are the standard ones that most techs have. The other two, you got the duckbill, being really short snub nose type job, and then you have your other longer heavy duty cutters. All right, all of these are sheet metal tools. All right, it just depends on what you're trying to cut. You know, you don't want to try to use on the gauges of metal something that will not be able to cut heavy duty metal. So they make them in different brands and different. Irwin makes a really good product, and they stay sharp for a long time. Your hand scribe, okay, not more than, don't use a hammer on this, okay, it's all done by freehand. Here's your chisel, cold chisel. You're going to need to have that. You got some die, all right, and you'll see where that all comes into play. And then your tape measure. Now, remember, everything's based off of somebody that doesn't know anything that's going on. So, what we want you to do is find basically the middle of this project with your hand scriber, okay? Now, before you do that, if you have poor vision, all right, or it helps you see what's going on, what I suggest, now this die is not going to come off, okay? So if you just kind of guess where the center is, because you're going to kind of play around with it anyway, so but just highlight it. Remember that artist, the puffy clouds and all that? Do, 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 do. All right, so you let that dry. Okay. Once it dries, all right, we're going to find the center point. Now, from the center point, your instructions tells you how far out, how big a circle to make. I think right now these are 12 by 12s. Oh, cool. It runs too. All right. These are 12 by 12 sheets, or approximately 12 by 12 sheets. All right. So you come across, find basically dead center, all right, and then do it the other direction, okay. This isn't an art contest or anything, all right. I'm just trying to hurry up through this so that we can move on to other things, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that's my base, okay. Now, here I have my ruler, and I don't know, let's just say for argument's sake we're going to make a 6-inch diameter circle. All right, so 6-inch diameter means that I got to have a 3-inch radius. So loosen up the thumb screw on these. All right, and remember, we're not trying to be extremely accurate here, okay. We're just going to get into the ballpark so it's pretty close, okay? Once you think you got it, mark it, tighten it down real well. Don't use pliers and everything else. Just recheck it, okay? Because it will move on you as you're trying to tighten it up. Okay, close enough for government work. Okay. Now, since I know where my center point is, I can put it in there, right? And then, for all intents and purposes, let me start without that on there. All right. Now, if I just lean it slightly, all right, and go around and apply a little bit of pressure, you can see the scribe in there. Okay, oops. And you know, it's going to happen where it comes out of the cutting disc. Okay, the center portion of it. All right, and you may need to move this around several times. All right, but don't worry about it. You're not getting evaluated on that, and I'm no sheet metal expert. Okay, so now with the scribes, we're done. And I don't know if you can see that, okay? But that's basically what's going to happen here. There's my 6-inch diameter circle. I've got my center marked. Now, what we want you to do is take the cold chisel and be sure that it's semi-sharp, all right? Use the corner, and it doesn't really matter where you put this thing, all right? But what you have to do is put it in there so you can start some sort of an indentation, all right? Now, it isn't pretty, and it doesn't mean to be pretty, okay? That's all that's designed for. Now please use a piece of lumber out here so that you're not tearing up the tables. Now you have different types of cutting tools. We want to go to our left, so we're going to use the green handles to the left. Now this is probably the most awkward thing to try to get accomplished, all right? Is to fit that in there so you can start nibbling away at it. Start with small cuts until you can get it open. There. I didn't say it was easy. All right. So now I'm starting my work process through there. All right. Now, once you get it up and moving, it gets in there. All right. So, what you don't want to try to do, and it's going to happen, okay, is go all the way through like that to the nose of it. It leaves a little indentation, so you just want to kind of be gentle with it. All right. Now, when you get this completely cut real fine, I want to know about it because it's really hard to do. But you see how I have the tool kind of laying at a side there? All right. And you're just moving it along nice and slow. Okay. And you go and cut the whole thing out. Okay. Once you've cut it out, all right, what we want you to do, there probably is going to be a file in here, all right? Just take it and run it over the edges where you cut so that just in case you hand it to somebody, they're not going to get their fingers cut, all right? Sheet metal causes a lot of damage, all right? But we just want you to understand how to use the tools. Now, I don't care if you're going right, left, or straight. What I will tell you though is when you go to do this, if you try to use a straight on a curve, it's going to be much harder. All right? So what you also want to do is try to practice with the different tools. This is an educational process. All right? If you use the wrong tool in the wrong direction, you're going to find out the hard way that it's very difficult to use that tool. You'll be fighting with it all the way around. Okay? Now you notice where I was cutting through, there's all these sharp edges, all right? Just be aware, try not to do that, but if you do, that's what the file's for, all right? The tools are very expensive, so please take care of them, all right? And then again, when you're all done, you can plug this puppy in and cut up whatever's left of your circle. Now, Milwaukee makes great tools, all right? And they're sturdy. But again, the tool is only as good as the operator. Okay, so we plugged in, you're ready to go. If you notice that the cutting edge on this, your sheet metal goes in just like that. You're going to have like, I don't know, an eighth, 3/16 of a piece of metal curling up as you're getting this accomplished. All right, so my hole is all cut out. All I have left is the shell, all right? And just practice, you know, grab an area, all right? You got to hold it down. And you notice how it just cuts it really nice and smooth. So if you can afford $300-400 bucks, go buy it and you never have to use these tools again. Okay? Now hold on to it and then just kind of practice going through it. So you can cut curves, but it isn't as fine if you're doing real short turn radiuses. All right, and then just cut it all up so that there's nothing left to it. All right. It's fun just trying to use it and figure out how to go about, because you can, as you get to use this more and more, it becomes easier. There's certain positions that you got to hold it in. See, sometimes it'll get stuck like that. So will your hand. All right. But again, this is used a lot. All right, it's probably misused a lot, so just be aware of that. But as I say with the safety, if you don't have your gloves and glasses on and you come bleeding to me, I'm gonna probably be tying a tourniquet somewhere where you don't want to have it. All right, there's no reason for it. These things, because it's galvanized, it's going to get an infection. All right, and it burns. If you've ever been cut by galvanized, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like somebody pouring salt in your fingers or hands or wherever you got cut. All right, please take care of the tools. Put all the tools back. This power tool is in the power crib, or in the tool crib, in the power hand tools, or power tools, excuse me. Everything else should be in the toolbox. All right. Show your work to your instructors, and then please clean up your area. Remember, all scrap metal goes in the trash can for scrap metal. If you don't know where that's at, just let us know. All right, and we'll help you out.